Good morning, friends. I'm gonna have my Sunday morning coffee sesh with you today. I'm thinking about something that was very near and dear to me the other day, which was, I'm gonna just actually go here. I'm gonna share the whole story because I know a lot of you can relate. I dropped my kids off with my mom, and she tells me, she's not gonna keep them very long, but 3 hours later calls me and says, come get these kids, it's time. All in that frenzy, like, oh my God, like, get them now or else I'm gonna have a mood and you're gonna have to pay for it kind of way. So I said, okay, I'll be there in the hour. I met in the middle. I said, I'll be there in the hour. And I stopped 2 of the projects that I'm working on and drive the half an hour there, a half an hour later. And I get there, and the second I walk in, she throws all of her shit down that she's holding. I told these kids I was gonna take them to the park, right? Okay, so Insanity 101 right here, right? Like, and I literally called her as I'm leaving my own house to say, I'm on my way, a half an hour before that. She acted like she didn't even know I was coming, right? Even though she insisted I'd be there. I'm sure you've dealt with something similar. And so we actually, again, meet in the middle, and my old self would have been like, I'm either gonna fight this or I'm gonna completely resist this, right? Like, either you're absolutely insane and I have to prove to you that it's unreasonable what you did, or no, I'm just not doing this and we're not taking the kids to the park, and there's no meeting in the middle. So we meet in the middle, take the kids to the park for a shorter time than the kids would have liked, but we did it. And while we were there, my 5-year-old started to act up, and my mom started to say, I don't think Santa's gonna, and then, oh my God, he's gonna think that you're a brat, and I don't think that you're gonna be getting anything for Christmas. Like, the whole shebang would have followed her mouth previous to this moment. And she stopped, and she goes, oh, do I hear sleigh bells? Oh my God, I could have fallen to my knees and sobbed. 65 years later, she was taught, right? So a lot of people come to me and they say, I can't tell if my mom is a narcissist, a codependent. I can't tell if, what's going on here. Can't tell my ass from like what's going on, right? And the thing that I want to say about that is, I do not represent, a lot of people come to me and say, oh yes, my mother was a narcissist too, or my mother was borderline too, and that's my demographic and this is what happened to me. But although there are genuine fixed states of that way of being, I believe that I represent the people who were stuck between, they were children stuck between the narcissistic codependent paradigm, and nobody ever taught them how to be people. They had 2 worlds that they could choose from. Sadly, kind of like it is culturally in the media right now. They had 2 worlds that they could choose from, and their back was up against the wall, and these opposing paradigms were the only choices that they had, and they were very polar. And in order to stay central, you had to, and to like be in the program just to survive, you had to learn the program. And then when you get out of that program, because you're an adult, and you go into a new relationship, you're just bringing the old program into the new relationship. And if you're a sensitive child raised in that dynamic, you're going to gracefully adhere to the program because you're loyal to the program, right? Our loyalty is unfounded. So, and something that we actually have to kind of step back away from to heal on a centered level, I think. But I represent the little girl in my mother that genuinely doesn't know better, right? And a lot of people could say, there's willful ignorance. And the way that I was raised, there was, somebody in my situation could say, and in a very fixated and real way, that this is the way that this person is, right? This is a fixed way that I was raised like this and she's always gonna be like this, which is theoretically true, but because I'm no longer like that, whatever that was, she's no longer like this in the way that she used to be. Because this disease, whatever that is, I don't entrain or align to the program. anymore like I would have. I can literally laugh at it. Like some clients might be like, what? I can't believe she's laughing at this, because I can look at it from the outside and be like, yeah, it's just so nonsensical. And I'm so glad that I'm not a person who's still trying to make sense of it, right? But sadly, I work with a lot of people who will say, I can't tell if this is the narcissism in my mother, I can't tell if this is her codependency, and they're trying to figure out the other person's pattern, right? And is this person this thing? And I think it's an all and in this scenario, because if you are a child, like I believe, yes, on a clinical, classical level, I was raised by a borderline and a narcissist, right? But on a reality level, and on a, I looked up at my mom one time when she was just pigeonholing my father into the way that, she does, and it's easier for me to stick up for other people than myself. And I said, he's allowed to change. And she looked at me, she was probably like 58 years old, and she looked at me like she had never even contemplated that that was allowed or possible. She literally looked at me like dumbfounded, like, oh my God. I think it was the first time I realized that some thoughts sink in, right? So we too, and it's the people who don't allow other people to change that are also afraid of their own change, right? So we want these people to change out of these states of narcissism, out of these states of, and that's the thing about my work with codependency, is if you're in a super codependent state, you are in so much pain as it is, it's hard for you to actually be helpful, because you're just trying to heal. And this is the thing that somebody asked me the other day. She said, is this my mom's like codependency or her narcissism, that she wants to help me in ways that aren't helpful, right? Classic codependent. But the problem is that is a, set aside the not having empathy, because it's a very narcissistic way of being, because if you are imposing your own will to help somebody the way that you believe that this person needs to be helped, because it's uncomfortable for you to see them not change or not be more like you or not be in the direction of the expectation that you have for them to look if they were helped. If you're uncomfortable and helping out of the discomfort, you're carrying around your own pain and projecting it outward. And by doing that, you keep yourself distant from it and put yourself automatically in a narcissistic space, because you can't even access your own pain, right? And it's when we kind of pull that helping back and go, okay, like if this person's unwilling to receive my help, what does that mean about me? How is my identity shattered if this person's unwilling to receive my help? And if this person is coming to my house relentlessly helping in a way that's actually just like putting their own wounds all over my house, I am allowed to say, hey, that's not actually helpful. I appreciate it, and I know we feel so guilty, we don't want to hurt them, right? But really, they're hurting anyway, and it's not, I hear this a lot, like, I don't want to be responsible for making this person feel that way. Well, they feel that way anyway, and you triggering something in them and symbolizing that in them, usually, and I don't mean this like, I mean this if you're dealing with the emotions of a cluster B personality and you're trying to navigate it, let's just put it that way. You're not the person who made them feel that way in the first place, right? And that was a big one for me. I had to pull back and be like, whoa, I actually wasn't the perpetrator. This isn't my baggage. I didn't make you this way, right? Like, I was always told, like, you make me do this, you're making me do this. Like, no, it's not true. You would feel that way with or without me, and you'd find somebody else to symbolize that feeling for you with or without me, right? So I represent the people who are stuck because they haven't been gifted a teacher. They haven't been shown. If you have parents who are in a narcissistic codependent paradigm and they're fighting or they're doing their thing, you are and I grew up in a farming family where just like animals were like, psh, whatever anyway. They treated you like they treated the animals, right? And there's not a teacher there. There's an expectation that you buck up and figure it out on your own. And that's not how life works. And when I saw my mom's reframe, and I think about my 5-year-old daughter, and all of the time she'll ask me questions and say, well, do we do this in this world? Or how do we do this in this world? And I teach her. And I offer space for her to have an experience of wondering instead of having to know, because that's where the personality gets so fixed. I have to know, I have to know, I have to know, and if I don't know, then I should basically just die, right? Because if I don't know, then I'm not going to survive. So all they have to know is that paradigm, and then that's what they project, right? But when my daughter asks, is this what we do in this world? And I take the time to teach her and actually tell her and show her, instead of expect that she expects, or expect that she knows how to just be a human in this world, right? So I represent the people who want to do better and actually genuinely believe that what they're doing is better, but know on a deeper level that they're toxic on the inside, and that's why what they're doing is not necessarily helpful in the ways that, like, they're not necessarily getting what they want out of their own lives, because you're helping in ways that are coming from a depleted space instead of an actual complete and fulfilled space, and that's where integration comes in. So I don't represent the people, I represent children of narcissists probably, vibrationally, but what I really stand for and what I really speak to and for is my mother and myself, and my mother and you, the part of you that says, I'm still trying to be good, and I still feel like the only way I'm going to be taught how to be good is through punishment, but I really need a good teacher to teach me softly, right? I represent the person who believes that even if you're 65, that reframe that I saw as a display from my mother was a lifetime of work and success for me. That was gold, more than any currency could have been. So I represent people who are in states because they're in pain and they don't know how to get out of that pain, but also, here's the bigger disclaimer, they have the will to get out of it, right? That's something that I always was trying to, I think that's why I became what I do. I was trying to spark that in my mother, and I know that she's afraid of that, right? The codependent goes, I can't open this floodgate of hell. I'm never gonna get out of bed again if I let this happen to me. And I assure you that you will, and it'll take less time once you feel it. And once you can feel it all, go, oh, this is my pain. This is the way I received this. This is my, whatever those emotions are for you, my jealousy. Like, a lot of people project that other people are jealous of him. It's like, no, it's my jealousy. This is my pain. This is not the pain that was inflicted upon me. Like, this is mine. And when we can integrate all of that and own it fully, then we're more whole. And when we're more whole, and this is the difference between being in that contracted, like, I'm out for myself, even if I'm helping you space, is like, when you're whole, you're just extending into everything, and the things that you give are actually received. They're actually received because they're wanted, they're welcome, they're accepted. It's not like you're dropping off something that somebody doesn't want, which is, a big thing of somebody who's codependent. It's just like, oh, let me help you in the way that, like, I want to, and it's not helpful at all. So I believe that, just like I said to my mother, people can change, and I represent the people who want to, and who were raised by people who were raised on that paradigm. It's that simple. Like, everybody wants to make it a diagnosis, and on a level of, like, physicality it is, but on a level of frequency, that's what I represent. So I hope that you guys have an amazing, very, very Merry Christmas. I'm so grateful for your support. I'm so grateful that you're here on the planet at the same time as me. That's a cool thing. We're here. We're both in the flesh. I'll talk to you probably next year. Can't believe I'm saying that. All right. Bye, friends.